Soul Game Saga Part 8 of Infinity. The Soul King Army's Cadets. The Soul King Army Cadets. Soul Game Saga Part 8 of Infinity, the Soul King Army Cadets. What is the Soul King Army Cadets? Or who are the Soul King Army Cadets? The chakras. Remember, everything for me, or everything with me, is about soul. It's a soul parable. It's a soul parable. There are people, our brethren and our sisters, who are within the military, and which need to be essentially stolen from the devil's ways, or stolen from the devil's way. This parable may help. So how is it going to work? I have a 10 chakra system, an upgrade of my 9 chakra system, in which I'm going to be incorporating and or using the 10 military ranks of the U.S. Army as a parable, so to speak, to label and describe how you gain each rank. When you gain awareness of this here specific chakra, you accept this here specific chakra's information, you apply this here chakra's information, and you establish the characteristics and the behavior that the chakra moves to and through you thereof, if that makes sense to you. So, 10 army ranks, 10 chakras, what you have to do to achieve this soul army cadet rank that I'm pushing out here. But first off, what are the 10 army ranks? Just want to let you know that I know them, and I'm going to know how I'm going to use them for this parable to work. So, the 10 army ranks: Private E.Y.E, Private E.2, Private First Class, Corporal Specialist. The Corporal and the Specialist is like 2 titles in one, but it's like one title, it's one rank, right? But it's like 2. Corporal is one, and then Specialist is the other. Then you got Sergeant, Staff Sergeant, Sergeant First Class. All 3 just 1 titles. Then you have Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major. No, that was the one after the one I'm talking about right now, thinking about. Let me see. Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major, Sergeant Major of the Army. I'm missing one. Sergeant Major, Master Sergeant, First Sergeant. Master Sergeant, First Sergeant. That's the one right there. So to redo it in order: Private E.Y.E, Private E.2, Private First Class, Corporal Specialist, Sergeant, Staff Sergeant, Sergeant First Class, Master Sergeant, Sergeant First Class, Master Sergeant First Sergeant, Master Sergeant First Sergeant. That's how you say it properly. Master Sergeant First Sergeant. And then you have Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major. Then you have Sergeant Major of the Army. Now, I'm going to use all 10 of those ranks to make my parable make more sense. But here's the thing. Here's the unique part about it. In order for this to work, you have to say soul before the rank. You have to put the soul before the rank. You have to put the soul before the rank. Why do I keep saying that? Because the soul is self and the self is soul. So when you put the soul before the rank, you're putting this yourself before the rank. You are before the rank at all times. You are. You are more important. You are more important. So now for my Soul Army Cadets, my Soul King Army Cadets ranks now. Here's what they are. Soul Private E.Y.E. What does the E stand for? Enlistee. What does the 1 stand for? A pay grade. It's a 10 level pay grade in the Army, or in the U.S. military force, according to what I've studied. Then you have Soul Private E.2, Soul Private First Class. Then you have Soul Corporal Specialist. Then after that you have Soul Sergeant, Soul Staff Sergeant, Soul Sergeant First Class. Then you have Soul Master Sergeant, Soul Master Sergeant Spiritual First Class, Spiritual Sergeant First Class, Soul Master Sergeant Spiritual Sergeant First Class. Then you have the Soul Major, or Soul Sergeant Major, and give me a second. Soul Master Sergeant First Sergeant, Soul Sergeant Major, and Soul Spiritual Command Sergeant Major. And then you have the Soul Sergeant Major of the Army. Soul Sergeant Major of the Army. Real quick, why am I using these military ranks? Because there are 4 grades of military ranks that I wanted to use. I wanted to use a military grade rank for the officers, bringing awareness of my Soul King Army's leadership, awareness. And then the Soul Marine Corps. I'm the type of man to fight fire with water. I'm the type of man to fight fire with water. My Soul Marine Corps parable is the water to fight the fire with in our spiritual heart spaces right now. My Soul Marine Corps parable, become one body of just love. The whole purpose of that parable is to help fight the fire inside of we currently with water. And now I have this one for the land. You have the source, You have the water, and now you got the land, the reincarnation spot, the army. This is where I am currently. And now the fourth one that I'm getting ready to do after this one, or momentarily, is going to be for the Air Force. Air Force. You follow what I'm saying? But anyway, back to the parable. Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major, Master Sergeant, First Sergeant. So back to the parable. Now, here's how it's going to work, right? So there are principality sins. There are about 10 of them in total. Actually 9, but there are about 10 according to the way my parable is going to be set up here. I'm going to tell you. And the thing is, in order for you to achieve my Soul King Army Cadets rank, you have to reverse this principality sin to normal. You have to reverse it back to normal. So meaning what fear is, reverse fear back to courage. Courage is a natural energy in which emits from you. You don't necessarily have to think about it, nor even fight so hard to apply it. You just be it. You can just be what you are, and you will be it, the courage thereof. You follow what I'm saying? So, I got 10 chakras here that I'm going to be using that I'm going to be using to label and describe how you can reach each of these here Soul King Army Cadet ranks. You follow what I'm saying? Once you gain awareness of them, acceptance of them, application of them, and establishment of them. Here they are. The first one being the Akasha Chakra. The Akasha Chakra. Through the Akasha Chakra, you become a private E.Y.E. I'm just going to list them off real quick, and then I'm going to come back to them. Through the Akasha Chakra, you become a Soul Private E.Y.E. Through the Earth Star Chakra, you become a Soul Private E2. Through the Root Chakra, you become a Soul Private First Class. Through the Sacral Chakra, you become a Soul Corporal Specialist. You see where I'm going with this? And through the Solar Plexus Chakra, you become a Soul Sergeant. And through the Heart Chakra, you become a Soul Staff Sergeant. Through the Throat Chakra, you become a Soul Sergeant First Class. Soul Sergeant First Class through the Throat Chakra. Through the Third Eye Chakra. Now here you got with the 2 ranks. You become a Soul Master Sergeant, a First Sergeant. I want to put the Spirit in there. I want to put Soul and Spirit in the rank. That's why I keep messing it up, because I'll be wanting to add too many words. You become a Soul Master Sergeant, Spiritual First Sergeant. Through the Third Eye Chakra. You see, in my Soul King's Army Cadet ranks. You follow what I'm saying? And then through the Crown Chakra, you become a Soul Sergeant Major, Spiritual Command Sergeant. Soul Sergeant Major, Spiritual Command Sergeant. Soul Sergeant Major, Spiritual Command Sergeant. That's the way I'm saying it properly. I hope I am. Moving forward. And then through the Soul Star Chakra, which is the 10th one, you become a Soul Sergeant Major of the Army. A Soul Sergeant Major of the Spiritual Army. Spirit is the physical. Soul is the non-physical. Spirit at base is our 5 senses, our mind, our control mechanism, ours. This is about soul supremacy, not supremacy of soul. Soul supremacy, not supremacy of soul. That's another reason for this parable. It's about soul supremacy, not supremacy of soul. The enemy has supremacy over our souls. So we need to reverse that and put our souls in the supremacy spot. You follow what I'm saying? This is why I keep saying the soul is before the rank. The soul is before the rank. Moving forward. Here. So now that you have those 10 lined up together, what is some more things to label and describe how to achieve my Soul King Army ranks, or my Soul King Army Cadet rank? Now, the Akasha Chakra. There is a principality sin that I have tied to it for this to work. It is fear. The Akasha Chakra sin is, fear is tied to that one. You follow me? Now, in order to receive the Soul Private E.Y.E. rank through the Akasha Chakra, you have to reverse that fear of it into courage in it. Reverse it to courage. More details about the Akasha Chakra before I move on. It's my wife. And the ethereal fluids in which move to and throughout us all is our natural influence. This is what the Akasha is. Akasha is a Sanskrit word for ether. Ether means the sky or the upper regions of air, above the heights of the clouds. Ether is space. Ether is the oxygen in which we breathe in. Ether is prana. Ether is the literal manifestation of prana. You follow what I'm saying? And through this here, through the knowledge of this and the acceptance and the application and the establishing of this here idea, Soul Private E.Y.E of my Soul King Army, you achieve this rank. Look up the word influence and see the origin of the word. And then you'll find how ethereal fluids, meaning air, meaning what is just love, moves to and throughout us all naturally as essentially a natural default base personality trait. Meaning, by default, we are all just love. By default, we are all just love. And respect for this characteristical trait is it in action. You follow what I'm saying? Moving forward. Earth Star Chakra, ignorance. Reverse ignorance to awareness. This is the first step towards achieving the goal here of becoming a Soul Private E2. Reverse ignorance of the earth to awareness of the earth. You become a Soul Private E2 in my Soul King Army. Next, Root Chakra. The foul principality of greed. Just flushing it all to the Apana, by the way. The foul principality of greed. Reverse greed to soul fulfillment. Soul fulfillment. This is how you become a Soul Private First Class in this here Soul King Army of Minds. And then you have the Sacral Chakra. The foul principality attached to the Sacral Chakra is lust. Reverse lust to soul stoicism or soul composure, or you having more self-control over you. Doing this task, you become a Soul Corporal Specialist in my Soul King's Army. That's for the Sacral Chakra. Then you have the Solar Plexus Chakra. The foul principality attached to the Solar Plexus Chakra is Gluttony. It's just a parable. Just a parable. What is a parable? A parable is a short story used to label and describe a moral and or spiritual upliftance. Now, of course, the definition says a parable is a short story used to illustrate a moral or spiritual lesson, but I change a couple of words in it so I can reduce the amount of poisonous intake in which this world tries to mix in with the truth. We can do without the poison. We can just use the truth. We don't need the poison at all. You can utilize the truth and the truth alone. Moving forward. Solar Plexus Chakra. The sin is gluttony. Reverse gluttony to soul discipline. Reversing gluttony to soul discipline in your Solar Plexus Chakra gives you the rank Soul Sergeant. Next, you have the Heart Chakra, the Staff Sergeant. Reverse and the sin here is vanity. Reversing vanity into soul pride gives you the rank of the Soul Staff Sergeant, if I'm still correct in the rankings right now for the parable to work. Next, Sergeant First Class, Soul Sergeant First Class, after Staff Sergeant, Sergeant First Class, right? Throat Chakra, Sergeant First Class. The Throat Chakra harvests the sin of wrath, turn it into Soul Tranquility. And then the next one, the Third Eye Chakra. Now you got your double ranks in one title. Master Sergeant First Sergeant. Soul Master Sergeant First Sergeant is Third Eye Chakra. Soul Master Sergeant First Sergeant is Third Eye Chakra. Soul Master Sergeant Spiritual First Sergeant. Soul Master Sergeant Spiritual First Sergeant. The rank of the Third Eye Chakra. What do you have to do to achieve this rank in the Soul King's Army? You have to reverse sloth to ambition. Reverse sloth to soul ambition. This is self-development. Self. You are better than your rank. You're very extraordinary. Did you know that? Moving forward here. Then you got the Crown Chakra, another double title. What's the Crown Chakra? Crown Chakra is Soul Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major. Yeah, Spiritual Command Sergeant Major as well. And jealousy is this one here. Reverse jealousy to soul satisfaction. Soul satisfaction. The opposite of jealousy or envy or being jealous of things is satisfaction. You want to know why? Because the definition of jealousy is quality or state of being jealous. What is the word jealous? Quality or state? Think about them two words right quick before I move on. Quality or state. Quality meaning the standard of something is measured against other things of a similar kind, and state meaning the conditioning of which this here standard is within. The standard. What is a standard? A level of quality or attainment. Level of quality or attainment. A level of quality or a level of attainment. Attainment. Level of attainment. What kind of level of attainment? How about a high level of attainment? What is the conditioning of your soul's attainment to and throughout you all currently? What is its conditioning? You want to know what it is? Being misled. So I just put together random words. Master Sergeant, First Sergeant, Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major, Soul Sergeant Major, Spiritual Command Sergeant Major. I just put together words that could equate to you no longer being lost at all, nor can you ever be lost ever again. Jealousy, quality or state of being jealous. Jealous, having or feeling, showing or having a feeling of envy of someone and their achievements and advantages. Envy of someone and their achievements and advantages is the definition of jealous. What is envy? Envy is a feeling of discontent or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions, qualities, or luck. Once again, there go that word qualities, like it just spins around as I'm getting ready to do to your planet for the next 72 years straight. 18 cycles, 4 years apiece. 72 years, putting the same ideology into the world's head. Accept my Soul King's army. Accept my Soul King's army. And to and throughout you all, my Soul King's source is going to clean out your waters and your lands and your airs. And then you're all going to be immortal. And then a lot of people who are so-called old are going to get young again. Moving forward, here. Soul King Army. Now the Soul Star Chakra's rank. The Soul Sergeant Major of the Army. The Soul Sergeant Major of the Army. The Soul Sergeant Major of the Spiritual Army. No, it's not two titles in it, it's just one title. But due to the way I have it set up, I'm going to call it the Soul Sergeant Major of the Spiritual Army. You follow what I'm saying? And to achieve this rank, what is the foul principality here? Actually, I don't even, let me see. Actually, for this parable to work, I had something else entirely set up. The 16 soul supremacy dimensions. In order for you to achieve this here rank, you have to gain awareness of the 16 soul supremacy dimensions, accept the 16 soul supremacy dimensions, apply the soul supremacy dimensions, and establish them. That's how this was going to work. So yeah, it was still 9 principalities, and then this here one divine task that I threw in there for it to all make even more sense. What are the 16 soul supremacy dimensions? I broke them down into 4 groups, 4, 8, 12, 16. The first 4, peace, respect, balance, and progression. The next 4, peace, love, unity, and advancement. The third 4, calmness, serenity, love, and righteousness. And the final 4, what's good, beautiful, normal, and natural, established unto thine environment. And that there is the parable for it right there. That is the Soul King Army Cadets parable. Army Cadets, the chakras, base, land. The officers are for the source. The Marine Corps is for the waters or the soul. The Army parable is for the land. And then the air is for the air. Putting the influence into the spirit to take you back from the government. Why do I keep saying this? Because the government stole you from I first. So I am just stealing you back. Very petty. So what? Not the actual me, the I me. I am stealing you back from the government because the government, this so-called government, stole you from me first. You're mine. I am yours. And we are in ownership of each other. You follow what I'm saying? And that there completes the Soul King Army's parable. I did the Soul Marine Corps. I did the soul officers, and now I just did the soul's army. Next one, I'm going to do the soul Air Force. But I want to add something else before I close out this video to make this make even more sense if I could. Let's not forget, I see the Akasha as the goddess of goddesses and the queen of all queens, whereas the soul star chakra is the source in which the king of all kings derives from. You follow what I'm saying? The soul is the king of all kings, but the soul star chakra, that there is where the king of all kings derives its power from. You follow me? And the king of all kings is just love. The king of all kings is just love. Meaning our actual selves are just love. Just, meaning what's exact. The exact way it should be. Love. An intense feeling of deep affection, a gentle feeling of fondness or liking. And very archaically, the word affection simply means a mental state, an emotion. Any kind of mental state, an emotion. Doesn't say which one specifically, therefore it'd be by default, the default mental state, an emotion. So that means your default mental state and emotion is a gentle feeling of fondness and liking for you, the life force source, the one that gives you your abilities to be here. You follow what I'm saying? Ethereal fluids coming from my wife, moving to and throughout you all as just love, to be your character traits thereof. Then the Akasha chakra, right? But that's the 10 chakra system. That's my 10 chakra system. I also have a 9 chakra system and also a 7 chakra system. Well, the 7 chakra system is what y'all have, but I came up with a 9 one and a 10 one. I want to tell you about the 10 one real quick. I want to tell you about these orishas that I have. Just want to randomly tell you about it to make this story make even more sense. So I have a 9 chakra system, right? And then there is something known as the 7 African powers. And the 7 African powers are also in a connected cohegence or connected alignment with Hindu cosmology. In other words, it's a relationship between Hindu cosmology and Yoruba cosmology. It's another reason I want to say this out loud. Yoruba cosmology and Hindu cosmology. Yoruba started in southern Nigeria, Oyo, the Oyo tribe, and Hinduism over in India or Asia. You follow me? They're both 5,000 years old, but they have a connection. Become one family again. Become one body again. Soul Marine Corps parable. You see? I'm just saying it because of that purpose right there. That's the only reason why I'm saying these words out loud, is to help you all become one family again faster. To become one body again. Corporation, Latin origin. Soul Marine Corps parable. Fighting fire with water. Why? Because it's a simple fight. Water puts fire out. Soul Marines. Marine means sea. Moving forward here. So there's a relation between Yoruba and there's a relation between Hinduism. And the relation that they have online is through the chakras. Chakras, Sanskrit, Hinduism. And then you have the orishas, Yoruba. You follow what I'm saying? And now let's not forget too, the Soul King Army's parable. You follow what I'm saying? Like everything that is a constituent of the cadets are also the ranks thereof, in which, or also the spiritual prowess, so to speak, that gives you the ability to manifest the rank to and throughout you all into the world, or within and all throughout the space thereof within you, to drive your character traits to being the best versions of themselves, just love. If that makes sense to you. So, the 7 African powers, without the chakras first, I'm going to just say that. The 7 African powers and how they're going to connect with this here story of mine so far. So, the 7 African powers are mentioned as Obatala. Obatala is the creator of the physical body, but they have him listed as a female. They have Obatala listed as, you can believe whatever you want. Obatala's a female. Okay. I mean, logically speaking, the energy in which Obatala's story represents is feminine, but you call him a male. Okay. Believe whatever you want. Moving forward. 7 African powers, right? Then the next one you have Shango the Thunderer. Also on the 7 African powers hierarchy, without the chakra connection, you have also to Orunmila, and you also have Elegua. You follow me? Those 4 first. You have Obatala, you have Shango, you have Elegua, you have Orunmila. You also have E.Y.E, and you have Oshun, and you also have Ogun. Those are the 7 African powers right there. Once again, Obatala, you have Orunmila, Shango, then you have Ogun, Elegua, E.Y.E, and Oshun. Those are the 7 African powers without any connection to the chakras first. But then now here's the thing. Then when you look online to study of how Hinduism is connected with the Yoruba religion, you'll find the list to be in this category right here. Shango the Thunderer represents the root chakra. Then you have for the sacral chakra, E.Y.E the sea goddess. She represents the sacral chakra. Then you have for the solar plexus, Ogun, the god of iron and fire and things of that nature, also, or weaponizing things. He's the god of, or he represents the solar plexus chakra. And then you have Oshun. Oshun, one of the wives of Shango the Thunderer, the goddess of fertility and the goddess of beauty and things of that nature. She represents the heart chakra on the online hierarchy listing. Then you have for the throat chakra, Obatala. Now this one is unique right here because our first sensory factor, hearing, according to the information, is within the throat chakra sense. You follow what I'm saying? It's within the throat chakra's information. And another beautiful part is this. When you look online to study about the Tan Mantras and the Panch Mahabhats and things of that nature, you'll also find Obatala, prana, and ether have a very similar kind of link up. So in other words, Obatala should be higher than what it is listed on this here list. But here I'm going to finish it anyways. And then also too, you get the hearing sense first, then you get the touch sense second, then you get the sight sense third. Then after the sight sense comes the taste. And then after the taste comes the final sense, the smell, breathing life into the completed body and the completed vessel thereof. But the way I'm seeing it, it's still a bit higher than what we're comprehending currently. We have more. But here, to finish the list, Orunmila represents the third eye chakra, the goddess of intuition, or the god of intuition, not goddess. God is male, goddess is female. The god of intuition, Orunmila, right? And then finally, for the Ori, the head. Ori just means head in Orisha cosmology. It just means head, meaning the top. You follow what I'm saying? Or essentially where all of you stems from. Ori represents the crown chakra in that belief there. So that's the 7 chakra belief system hierarchy online, all right? But see, here's the thing. Like I said, I have both a 9 chakra system and a 10 chakra system. You follow me? And the way I have it set up for the 9 chakra system is as follows. The soul star chakra being Olodumare. Olodumare is like the father of all of the Orishas, the creator of all of the Orishas, and which is not mentioned and is not necessarily mentioned as a chakra hierarchy setup. You follow what I'm saying? So I'm just going to set them up for one for myself. I'm going to mention this and close out the video. And then you have, for my setup, I have Obatala Ori representing the crown chakra. We got the sound first. The sound spoke us, or the thought us into existence. We got thought into the existence. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God. You follow what I'm saying? This is the reason why I set it up in this field. And then the next one I have for the third eye chakra, after the crown chakra, Olodumare, soul star chakra, Obatala Ori representing the crown chakra, and then you have for the third eye chakra, I have Shango the Thunderer representing the third eye chakra. You follow what I'm saying? Shango the Thunderer. It's essentially like bringing your perception into the physical, bringing your perception into the physical. This is another reason why I have it set up here. You follow what I'm saying? Connect these parables, connect these dots. They're all in the same place. So next I have for The throat chakra, after the third eye chakra, I have Ogun. Reason why I say Ogun, the weaponizing spirit, is because I desire to weaponize you all into a weapon of respect and just love. Respect is love in action. I honestly believe that with this water I am stirring up inside of you all, you can truly use it to put the fire of the enemy out. Especially with this army. Soul Captain Eric Killmonger as well. And everything that comes with Soul Captain Eric Killmonger to help us fight against these demons. I'll tell you what Soul Captain Eric Killmonger means later on. But here. Next, for the heart chakra, instead of Oshun, I have Orunmila here. From the third eye chakra. I move them down to the heart chakra and move Oshun somewhere else as well. I have the god of intuition here in the heart chakra. Next, for the solar plexus chakra, here I have Oshun. Now, reason why I put Oshun here primarily is because nourishment, replenishment, goddesses, women restore us as men. They help restore men and help men move forward properly and better. That's one of the reasons why I put Oshun there in the solar plexus slot. Well, for my 9 chakra system, I'm getting somewhere. And then for the sacral chakra, I still have Yemaya remaining here, the sea goddess. And then for the root chakra, instead of Shango the Thunderer, now I have Elegua here of the 7 African powers, the gatekeeper. Elegua is the gatekeeper god. But see, here's the thing though. When you think of Yoruba cosmology, you're thinking of essentially what is all just love. Just balanced love. Telling a story about how we are the best versions of ourselves, just in like a puzzle. Let's not forget it's a religion at the end of the day. And all religions do the same thing. Give you a truth in a certain way that ain't even all the way true. Am I saying there are lies in Yoruba cosmology? I'm saying that there are lies in every religion there is known, all 10,000 of them. We don't necessarily even need a religion, we just need a soul theocracy, but that's just my opinion. Here, more. So, the gatekeeper, since we're talking about Yoruba, a Yoruba gatekeeper, what could be the definition of a good gatekeeper? Because we know what a bad one is, right? The oppressive body. The oppressive body is a bad gatekeeper, so what would be a good gatekeeper? How would that make sense? You want to know what it represents? A gatekeeper in which keeps evil out of the gate of just love. In other words, the Elegua is like a shield in a sense. You can see it like that if you'd like to. You can. You can see it however you want to see it, honestly. Just go off the principle and the basis of the story, best way you can. And then, for the Earth Star Chakra, in my 9 chakra system, I have E.Y.E, my wife, goddess of winds. There's a very bad story between Shango and E.Y.E that went down. And I say I because I am Shango. Or at least according to my parable. And according to what I'm studying as well, Shango the Thunderer is like the Yahusha of Yoruba religion, or the Yahusha of Nigeria, as Ra is the Yahusha of Egypt, in a sense. Or like Dhanvantari is the Yahusha or Jesus of India, in a sense. Or was it Vishnu? Yeah, it's Vishnu. But in so many ways, when you study the story, Vishnu is what incarnated as Jesus. At least according to how I'm studying it. I don't want to go too far off into it again, because you know how sensitive you are to what could be the truth even. Moving forward. So, Earth Star Chakra. Oh yeah, for my 9 chakra system, right? But here's the thing though. Not only is that's my 9 chakra system, but I also have a 10 chakra system. And the 10 chakra system is simply adding what I call the Akasha chakra to the list. The Akasha chakra. And the only difference between the 9 chakra system and the 10 chakra system is that Akasha chakra and the last 2 angels or the goddesses that represent them. So for my 10 chakra system, the goddess who will represent the Earth Star chakra will be Oba, my first wife. And then also for my 10th chakra system, the Akasha chakra, the goddess E.Y.E will be the representation of my Akasha chakra. Culminate these orishas and these chakras with these army ranks here, if you can. And be able to recognize how these orishas have the ability to help reverse these foul principality sins back to normal. And once you reverse these principality sins back